Imagine living next door to a man so ordinary that he could easily blend into the background of everyday life. Yet behind closed doors, he was hiding one of the darkest secrets imaginable, a secret involving murder, horror, and even cannibalism. This man was Jeffrey Dahmer. How could someone so normal be capable of such unimaginable evil? Welcome back to True Stories, where we dive deep into the most chilling real-life tales. Today, we're unearthing the disturbing and terrifying story of Jeffrey Dahmer, known to the world as the Milwaukee Cannibal. His crimes shocked not just America, but the entire world. How did he commit such horrors? And what led him down this path? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking truth. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. To those around him, he seemed like any other boy. But beneath the surface, something was deeply wrong. As a child, Dahmer displayed unusual behavior. He was fascinated by dead animals, collecting roadkill, and dissecting it. His family and neighbors noticed something was off, but no one could predict how dark his mind would become. In 1978, Dahmer's darkness first showed itself in the most horrifying way. At the age of 18, he picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks. What began as a friendly encounter took a gruesome turn when Dahmer bludgeoned Hicks to death with a dumbbell. This was Dahmer's first taste of murder, an act that would set the stage for the bloodshed that was to follow. From 1978 to the early 1990s, Dahmer's thirst for violence spiraled into a terrifying pattern. He lured young men and boys back to his apartment, promising them money or companionship. But once inside, the nightmare would begin. Dahmer would drug his victims, strangle them, and then proceed to carry out unspeakable acts. He would dismember their bodies, preserving parts of them, some even stored in his refrigerator for later consumption. In his twisted mind, Dahmer believed that by eating parts of his victims, he could make them a permanent part of his life. Dahmer's apartment became a house of horrors. When the police finally entered, they found severed heads, bones, and disturbing Polaroids documenting the gruesome scenes. Dahmer's murders were not just acts of violence. They were ritualistic, feeding into his terrifying fantasies. In July of 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer's reign of terror finally came to an end, thanks to one brave man named Tracy Edwards. Dahmer had lured Edwards into his apartment, just like so many others before him. But something went wrong for Dahmer. Edwards managed to escape, running through the streets until he found help. Edwards led police back to Dahmer's apartment, and what they found shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Human remains were scattered throughout the apartment, some in the fridge, others in various stages of decomposition. When Dahmer was finally arrested, he confessed to murdering 17 men and boys. The world was horrified, not only by the number of his victims, but by the brutality of his methods. Even Dahmer seemed somewhat resigned, telling the police that he had expected to be caught sooner. Jeffrey Dahmer's trial began in early 1992. He pleaded guilty but insane, claiming that his uncontrollable urges had driven him to commit the murders. But the jury disagreed. Dahmer was found legally sane and convicted on 15 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 15 life terms in prison, a punishment that would keep him behind bars for the rest of his life. However, Dahmer's story didn't end there. In 1994, just 2 years into his sentence, Dahmer was killed by a fellow inmate in a Wisconsin prison. Some see it as a fitting end for a man who had committed such horrendous crimes. Others wonder what drove this fellow inmate to take justice into his own hands. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes left a scar on the world, raising questions about how someone so seemingly ordinary could commit such horrific acts. His story has inspired countless documentaries, books, and even films, forever sealing his name in history as one of the most notorious serial killers. While Jeffrey Dahmer is no longer with us, the chilling memory of his crimes will haunt us for generations. His story serves as a grim reminder of the darkness that can sometimes hide in plain sight. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most terrifying stories of our time. Jeffrey Dahmer's legacy is one of darkness, but through understanding his story, perhaps we can prevent future tragedies. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time. Don't forget to subscribe to True Stories for more gripping tales from the shadows.